Hey guys, Flakes here. I know this video already looks a little different, and I would like to give a big thanks to Mina T for providing this beautiful overlay. That kind of really complements my model very well. Just a complete heads up, this overlay is free to use, and I'll provide a link to the Twitter post that provided it down below in the description. It would mean a lot if you could go over there, if you have a Twitter account, of course, and just give it a like, just so that they know that people out there really appreciate the work that they do. But all that aside, I just wanted to take this video as some time to explain where the channel is going. I know that in my previous video, I said that I was going to return to making more videos in Season 7, and this will kind of be an explanation of why that just hasn't happened. So I wouldn't call this an apology video, I just want to call it an explanation video and kind of talk about where this channel is going to go in the future. So why am I leaving Eternal Return exactly? This game has taken up a huge part of my life, and I could talk about my journey with it for probably 15 minutes straight, but this isn't about that. This is about what has driven me away from wanting to make content for the game. So, what's the biggest part? There is no new content. They added one thing that was vaguely interesting in the past 7 seasons, which is Escape, and even Escape doesn't really do anything because they've purposely made the drop rate very low for all the escape related mechanics. And so what does this mean for the game? So obviously we've had 7 seasons of content, and each season was supposed to bring a major change to the game. So what was it for season 1 and 2? Nothing. Season 3 and 4 had some interesting changes with augments and objectives, but I don't think it's an open secret that nobody likes augments and their implementation, so that was kind of a wash in regards to gameplay additions. And then objectives, while they aren't too bad, I honestly think that number one kind of really missed with their implementation because they don't actually add anything interesting to the game. They simply provide a consistent way for you to play the game, and if you win, you get a huge power spike that you can rely on every game, and if you lose there, then you just queue for the next game and hope you win the next one. And then the only real thing that happens to you is an upset where someone else got the same amount of objective items as you did and kill you because their matchup is better or something. So while objectives did add some sort of different style of gameplay, that gameplay already existed where you would farm animal zones and contest other people and just get lucky or just contest wicks. So I would say objectives, while they aren't offensive, didn't really add too much in the way of herbs, especially when you consider how overstated transition items are. And yeah, hopefully on the screen you'll see some items that I'm talking about because they don't balance these items whatsoever, and it really makes the game not very fun if you don't have items to compete with those, unless you have a really good matchup, in which case that's an entirely different issue with balance, but we won't get into that because every game has balance issues like character stats, character balance, all that. That's something that you can never escape no matter what game you go into, so try to give them a little bit of credit on how their characters look. I'm just going to complain about their features for the gameplay itself. So season 3 and 4 aside, what have they added exactly for season 5, 6, and 7? The answer is essentially just escape. While drones do add routing differences to the game, which have ironically made routes more complex due to new players need to understand their existence, they haven't done anything. They had a season dedicated to reversing or to redoing their skill amp EBAT ESD, which was what happened in season 2, so it's not really content. And then Escape, again, while it is very unique to Eternal Return, no other game has that in a Battle Royale. It's so rare that you barely think about it until it happens to show up, and then you're like, oh right, this exists. Do I even get to use it in my head or behind, blah blah blah. So it wouldn't be outrageous to say that we've been playing essentially the exact same game since Augment's released, where you just go for a character that abuses some sort of playstyle, whether it's assassination, bruiser, or just very uninteractive gameplay, and then you just play that for the entire season, and that's just how it's been. So season 3, whenever augments came out, I forget the exact timing, it's been about a year, and I'm the type of person that doesn't really have enjoyment in playing consistent things over a year, so I always try and find something new. And I hope my channel has kind of given that vibe off with, the ridiculous stuff that I do, like crafting all the time, or healing Adina, or just like the amount of characters that I play on my stream highlights. But they've been reducing the amount of crazy stuff you can do in the game. So with season 7, with the actual season 7 release, they essentially removed the benefits of crafting multiple items from the game. And I know a lot of people might find that to be a good thing because crafting multiple items doing that factory style of build was pretty uninteractive for most people. You didn't really interact with others, you just opened boxes and crafted until you got an item level advantage. And while I totally understand why you would discourage that type of gameplay, that was also something that was very, very unique to Eternal Return. And that was kind of something that you could use to prove that you had good game knowledge, if that made sense. So I guess the other point is that the item factory builds didn't even break the game in a ridiculous way. If you watch tournaments, if you watch ladder gameplay, there were so few characters or so few players that would even abuse this style of gameplay to hit a high rank. Like, if you go into Korea, a lot of the top ranked players are the ones going for objectives or going for a lot of fights and killing people that way. And there are a few characters here and there like Fiora and Sylvia and Bianca. Not even Bianca, it's just Fiora and Sylvia really that would craft a lot. That was still an alternate style of gameplay that made those characters feel unique. And while certain characters like Sylvia felt kind of locked behind that gameplay, that's just a balance thing. Like, you can shift numbers around so they're not forced to rely on level 16 to be good. So you could have fixed it around that. But all that aside, what my problem is here is that, again, I talked about it earlier, they added a singular interesting mechanic through escape, which is inconsistent. And in return for adding not really a new feature, they removed one of the core identities of Eternal Return that you could explore as somebody who didn't just want to run objectives or just farm and silently in the corner on animals the entire game. So if you want to break down Eternal Return into 4 subsets of gameplay, they deleted one. And so they deleted one whole style of gameplay out of the 4. And I would argue that this style of gameplay was the one that required the most game knowledge. This is the one that required the most macro knowledge. You had to understand what items were where and how you could craft this stuff and that stuff and how you could manage your inventory so you could do certain things. And it just really sucks because it was fun trying to maximize your experience gain by crafting items and understanding how to route properly. And now there's no replacement. You can't really farm better because farming is pretty reliant on others not killing the animals before you. Objectives are just kind of people camping around until someone engages against their party, or maybe your character is just so broken you can kill all of them yourself. And ratting, I mean, like, I guess you could combine ratting and macroing or item factorying, but in the end they were totally different because rats wouldn't even want to generate pings, while when you're macroing with item crafting you would still have to contest people off yourself so that you could craft. So it sucks. Like, I think that was the camel in my, or I made this metaphor wrong last time. This is the straw that broke my camel's back, because for season 7 I was planning on making crafting videos. I had 2 Fiora VODs ready to edit and show you guys, but then I realized there's no point because they removed it. So why would I show you guys something really cool that I tried to optimize and discover when Nimble Neuron just axed it with no compensation whatsoever? It sucks. It feels like my niche as a content creator has been deleted from the game and they offered nothing for it. And so what does this mean for the future of the game? Well, they do have something pretty exciting coming up. I don't think the Dev Hour stream is actually available for me to skim anymore. If it is, you'll see it on the screen in post editing. But they are planning on adding something very cool called like the Battle Zone and season 8 or season 9, where you can actually, there's like a random zone designated for like an all-out brawl where you can resurrect if you lose. And that's really cool. That actually adds gameplay, and I'm definitely excited for that. But that's not season 7. We're in season 7. It just began less than a week ago. So the fact that I have to wait at least 3 months, if not 6 months, just for actual real content to come out, it's too long. And I want to keep giving you guys content because I like to believe that I can provide something outside of Eternal Return only. And with that in mind, that's the biggest reason why I'm moving on. It's just, they can save the game, like they can add item crafting back in, but the fact of the matter is that there isn't much to do in Eternal Return besides something that we've been doing since the beginning of the game. And they removed kind of one of the sole pieces of complexity left from the game where you could do subtle optimizations to come out ahead. And yeah, the game feels like, to me at least, that it's just going to be a bunch of strong characters bashing heads over weapon mastery farm, and then whoever has the most transition items or the best matchups at the end will just win. And it sucks. So yeah, I'll be taking a 2 week break from streaming and content creation in general. I'll be going home to visit family and then see friends. And I'm hoping that with that break, I'll be fresh and ready to do a lot of interesting content for you guys. And I, again, really hope you guys will stay and watch that, just because I know this channel and really just my entire existence on Twitch and YouTube was made for Eternal Return. And it's really hard and really scary, honestly, to step away from that and go in other avenues. But yeah, it would mean a lot to me if you guys came back and just give me a chance on all these other things. I will still try and make a piece of Eternal Return content every week at least, just because I know that I will probably maybe have fun with it if I only play it once a week and make a video for it once a week. But I hope you guys understand that when there are other types of videos coming up from me, I would really appreciate it if you clicked on it and you understand why those are showing up instead. And yeah, that'll be all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry for the very serious tone and, you know, the very lack of anything engaging going on in the background. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a good night, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.